Hi there, I'm Dan Vukmarovich, Star Diamond Team Beachbody Coach and founder of the Go Team. This is my story. Take you back a couple years, I'm standing in the middle of a local clothing store called Plato's Closet. And I'm in the dressing room, and I've just picked out a shirt from the rack, and I'm kind of thinking it's going to be styling on me, and I'm all excited because I want to buy a new shirt and ready to go with that. So I take off my current shirt, and of course they have that full-length mirror standing right next to you in the room. And so, of course, pretty much everybody takes that opportunity when they're in that situation, just to kind of size things up. How am I doing? What's going on? How is this all coming together? And I took a look over at the mirror, and I realized that I had become my father. And just about 2.5 years prior to that moment, my father had passed away due to complications from type 2 diabetes. Now, the last 10 years of his life had been spent not the way he had hoped. He had spent that time in hospital visits, doctor visits, surgeries, everything all the way up to an amputation of his leg, heart bypass surgery, strokes, eye issues, all of these complications due to type 2 diabetes that he had been struggling with for about 35 years. And I realized at that point, as I looked in the mirror, that I had a choice to make. I was either going to go down that road of becoming a type 2 diabetic, because the genetics were against me, it stacked a little bit against. And so I had that because my grandfather as well had passed from type 2 complications in the past. I had a choice, and I had to do something different. And here's the thing that I saw. I saw the hopes and dreams of my parents, particularly my mom. I saw the hopes and my dreams of their last season together decimated by a lot of poor choices. And I'm not going to just blame that all on my dad. Yeah, there was environmental, a lot of things like that. But truly, ultimately, we have decisions that we can make about our health and our fitness. And we can either choose a trajectory that will take us in a positive way or in a negative one. And we have a choice. And so I decided at that point I had to do something different. And what I ended up doing is, on the recommendation of a friend, I found P90X. So P90X is a video series from Beachbody, and I ended up starting this series. And it was crazy because it was 90 days of working out, and it was pretty nuts. I mean, the X stands for extreme, and I could not believe, it's particularly the first workout. As I got in, I put my disc right in my Blu-ray player, and I'm all set, got my screen all set to go, and I'm like, okay, Tony Horton, what do you got for me? And he told me to go and start doing a whole bunch of push-ups, and then pull-ups, and then more push-ups, and then more pull-ups. And I was like, the first workout I got done with, and I barely made it through about half of it. And I was almost at the point, I was like, I don't think I can even do this, I'm going to give up. But something inside of me said that I was worth the effort, and in the beginning, I knew I was going to struggle. But I knew then I was going to get stronger, because in the struggle, we find strength. So over time, day after day, week after week, month after month, keep push and play, I ended up getting quite a bit stronger. And I made it through my first series of P90X, which was great. And I didn't quite have the results that I was wanting, because I really was only paying attention to my fitness, the actual movement of my body. So I was doing these extreme moves, which is great, and I was maybe gaining some strength. But part of what I really wanted to do was lean out my midsection, because I figured I was actually what would be considered skinny fat. Now, some people carry their weight a little bit differently. Some carry it all over their body. I focused it, all focused right into my abdomen, which is pretty typical of a lot of type 2, heading towards the type 2 diabetic, which was my dad. My dad wasn't a particularly large guy, but he had quite a bit of a belly on him, okay? And so I knew that I had to make a difference now based on my nutrition. So there was a point when I realized, like, 90 days worth of working out, and I only got sort of results with that, I figured I had to do something different. And so I ended up figuring out that I needed someone to help me with my nutrition. And that's when I reached out. I actually Googled right on Google, P90X nutrition. Bam. And I found my coach. My coach then ended up taking me through a pattern of helping line up my nutrition right. I got started on a once-a-day meal replacement shake called Shakeology. And that then was the game changer for me. I started a new program called P90X2, which was exciting because I'd gone through P90X and I was ready for maybe something a little bit different. Tony Horton released this brand new program at that point, P90X2, and I did that program for 90 days straight. I lost 18 pounds during that, and I went down from about 23% body fat on this body down to sub 10, which is pretty cool for me. And I felt really confident then, and I felt like, wow, I'm really nailing this. And at that point, I decided to become a Beachbody coach. And initially it was really because I love this Shakeology stuff and I wanted to save about 25% on it. So I figured, okay, I can save some money on my Shakeology, so I'll just do that. And maybe if I can get a few people to sign on with this, that I could earn 25% commission along with it. Oh yeah, that sounds like a pretty good deal. And I'd be helping people because it lined up with my life's mission. Because part of what I believed I wanted to do with my life, and I still believe that I want to do with my life, is to help people become the best versions, the God-sized versions of themselves. To live out, and this is in a particular passage of the Bible, it's John 10:10, that Jesus came along to say, I have come to give them life and life abundantly. And that's not like the financial side abundantly, that's like every area of life, living that out abundantly. And I wanted to be an agent of abundance in this world. And I knew that then this Team Beachbody thing might play into that because I knew that so many people struggle with health, nutrition issues in their lives, and I wanted to make a difference, a very practical difference in their lives, and then help them maybe live out and see their purpose in a greater scheme than even just getting ripped or getting fit. Okay? And so what ended up happening is that first couple weeks, I was like, okay, I'd love to see if I could get a few people to kind of get involved with this thing. And I started my first challenge group. And then people started coming along. And they started getting transformation. And day after day, week after week, month after month, I was seeing people send me messages like, Dan, thank you so much. Thanks for starting that challenge. It is changing my life. And I saw people's, not just their bodies transform, but their spirits and their minds transform as they broke through barriers that they maybe been holding on to, or strongholds that have been in their life for years, and they were making progress. And so it was very, very exciting for me to see that as I continued to do that. Now, here's the real cool part about it. The health side was one side for me, but I also had this reality in my life that I had young girls at that point, kind of teenagers, and I knew that college was coming. And in my current employment at that point, I'd sort of hit the ceiling of where I could be financially speaking. I wasn't really going to make any more money. From there, raises were very infrequent. Even just the whole idea of the 3% keeping up with cost of living, we hadn't gotten for about 2 or 3 or 4 years at that point. And so I knew that I had to supplement what we were doing. My wife, being a teacher, wasn't making a whole lot of money either. And in order to live a comfortable lifestyle and pay for college, because I didn't want to shackle my kids with a whole ton of debt. Now, we'd made some plans financially with college, but it just wasn't going to be enough. And I had to do something different. Maybe you can relate. Maybe you're a parent who's got someone or got kids in your life that you want to make sure that they're set for college moving forward. That's something to consider. And so I knew I had sort of hit that ceiling, and then Beachbody stepped in right at that moment. And that's when I decided that I was going to try to make a run at this and see what I could do. Now, initially, it was just going to be a part-time thing. I was like, okay, I'll just, kind of do my current job, and I will be like all set with this, part-time. But day after day, week after week, month after month, what started to happen, more and more people were looking for more and more help. And finally, there was that point where I knew that I was going to make the jump over into being a full-time Beachbody coach. And now I'm finding I've got more freedom in my life, in my schedule, in order to help people live out their fullest potential. So I get a little bit more opportunity to like dictate my own schedule. And some people would say like, okay, I got to fire my boss. That wasn't it at all. I was pretty good with where I was at. I didn't have any problems with that. But I did love the idea of being able to set my own schedule and know that I could do that for the future. And it still lined up with the whole idea of being a mission that my life would be set to help people live out their full potential. So that was really, really great. And as things grew and as things developed, I began to develop this thing called the Go Team. So I have coaches that I help in my network, that I help grow them and train them to be Beachbody coaches. Now, here's the thing where it might play into you. We have a brand new set of training starting next month. And I would love for you to be a part of this new training that we're doing to help people. It's called Rock the Basics. We are starting a whole new set of this. But in order to get into that training, you'd have to become a Beachbody coach. So maybe you've been a Beachbody customer for a while, and you've been kind of kicking the tires, and you've heard about this, maybe you've watched on the videos, that's great, you'd be interested about what this whole Beachbody coaching thing entails. So we have a sneak peek, an hour-long sneak peek coming up, and you can see the details of that in the description here, or on the YouTube channel, or in the comment section. You can see a little bit more about how to apply to get to be part of this sneak peek. It's a very simple web form that we're going to have you fill out. It just gives us a little bit of information about you and how then we can best serve you and give you the information that you want to know in this sneak peek. So you can see those details. We'd love to have you come along and join us for that. We'd love to have you join the Go Team, or at least consider the options, and we will lay those out for you, and we're thankful for that. So if you're interested, please fill out the link and we'll get you going. Thanks guys for listening. Let's go.